Friday, January 16th, 2015. My name is Jason Bunn Parsons, and I'm an autistic self-advocate. And this is the third video of a series of videos talking about a organizational meeting that we had for a autism social and networking group that actually met last Saturday. And anyway, so in this video, I'm going to be discussing, as far as what was actually discussed during the meeting. And and I first started off, addressing the issue of autistic socialization and the desire for autistics to have various recreational activities. And so I started off by pointing out that that one of the biggest mistakes that people make, and not just autistics, but people make in general, is when they're wanting to plan a social event, is they say, okay, who all wants to do such and such an event? Okay, and so 10% will say, yeah, that sounds good. Another 10% will say, not really, and the remaining 80% will say, I don't care. And so this idea of using democracy to try to find out one recreational activity that the majority is going to want to do, it doesn't work. Okay, quite frankly, it doesn't work, because there's just too much variation in what people actually want to do. And one of the great thing about social media today, particularly the website that we use, meetup.com, is that it allows people that are looking to socialize to basically post events, and anybody who's interested in going to the event can just click in and go. And we had an autistic part of the East Valley group who decided that he wanted to do a holiday party a couple of years. And so actually I went and talked to Sue. I sent Sue an email, and she posted it on the meetup site for the East Valley group, and about a half a dozen people showed up, and we had fun. We watched some movies. The second year, I remember, we watched Avatar, and so but both years, we basically did whatever we wanted, and that's, in my opinion, is a far more effective method of planning social events than trying to use democracy, because, like I said, there's too much variation what people like to do to put it up to a vote. And another mistake that's and this also addresses another mistake that is made, as far as everybody just assumes that the leader is going to make all the decisions. And there have been other meetup sites, other meetup groups that have started up over the past 2-3 years, and they quickly fold, because basically all the pressure is being put upon the group leader to do everything. And in fact, that there's a group out in the East Valley that had to have an emergency meeting, because the person that had started the group was needing to step down, and so somebody needed to step up, and they actually had to have an emergency meeting in order to figure out how they're going to save the group. And apparently the meeting went well, because the group still exists. They're still doing events, and so so in any case, that's one of the mistakes I really believe that, again, human beings in general make, is, okay, the leader is going to do everything, going to make all the decisions, going to make all the organize everything, and puts way too much pressure on them. Okay, and then another thing that I discussed is part of the reason why you socialize is for purposes of inclusion. And so one of the things that's that I brought up is autistics finding inclusion through volunteerism. Okay, as I mentioned in other videos before, up until me enrolling in school, which started this past week, I was volunteering to help teach English to refugees and other immigrants at a church I used to go to. And and I've been doing that off and on since 2009, and that's lets me wind up doing other social services type assistance for them, and it was really rewarding for me, to be able to interact with people who are appreciative of me, and quite frankly, they didn't realize that I was different, that they were just glad that somebody cared about them. And so, that's one of the reasons why, if you're wanting to go volunteerism, cross-cultural, is really a great way to do it, because they don't know you're different, because they're different from us, and so they expect you to be different from them, and so yeah, all these, atypical behavior issues become completely irrelevant when you're dealing with people who don't realize that your behavior is atypical. Great, but anyways, because in Autistics, we have a history. The vast majority of us is getting beat up upon because of our inability to do things, and constantly criticized, constantly being put down, and constantly failing at all these easy tasks that everybody else can do. Why can't you do them? And it's great to put yourself in a situation where you're going to succeed, and so that's one of the the things is what, yes, you do have to go to work, you have some say in what kind of jobs you go to, but at the same time you need to have a job, and sometimes you just have to get a job, but nevertheless, when the job is over, you're now free to be whatever you want and associate with whoever you want. So why not associate with people in which you're going to be doing things that you can succeed at, and help building your self-esteem, and then also there's the aspect that a lot of human beings, not just autistics, but a lot of human beings, when they struggle, they have a tendency to feel sorry for themselves, and they need to work with other people in order to give them this reality check that they're not the only people that are struggling, that are suffering, and I have a great story about this. Bill W., when he was a stockbroker by trade, and in 1933 he took a trip to Akron, Ohio for a business meeting, and that meeting fell through, and so so wound up being a failure, and so he got depressed, and so at this time he was part of what was called the Oxford group, which was the forerunner to AA. AA was born out of the Oxford group. Long story behind that, but anyways, so here he is. He's depressed. He's upset, and so he gets on the phone. He starts calling all the churches to find an Oxford group, and so he finds one of these churches, and so he talks to the secretary, and he says to the secretary that he was a rum hound from Brooklyn, and that he needed to find an alcoholic to reach out to. Now that is completely counter to how human beings typically get, as far as instead of wanting to find somebody to cry on their shoulder, he went to look for somebody else to help out. Now, as a recovering codependent, I also realize this principle could be misused, as far as codependents would rather go and fix somebody else rather than deal with their own issues. So yes, I realize that this principle can be misused, but at the same time, that there's also the principle of instead of feeling sorry for yourself, why don't you go and do something constructive with your life? That this is something that I really believe would improve the quality of life of a lot of autistics, as far as if they would do something constructive with their life rather than feeling sorry for themselves. And this gets to one of the things that I mentioned in the previous video, that me and one of the other gentlemen was talking about a lot of different ideas. He had this idea about a group of autistics and blind individuals, forming a kind of a mutual support group, whereas, where they'd be mutually supporting of each other. And I'll admit I wasn't completely able to, follow, exactly his line of thinking, but nevertheless, as far as why specifically, autistics and blind people would be such good matches together, nevertheless, it's like he wants to give it a shot, and he's already, talked to a couple of people that he's going to be meeting up with, to lay out his idea, and so I'm definitely interested in supporting this idea. And in fact, I asked him if he had watched the Temple Grandin movie, and he said he hadn't, and I told him about how, the one roommate that Temple Grandin, best got along with was this roommate who was blind, who was understanding that, okay, Temple had her squeezing machine, okay, and there's a lot of misunderstanding by people about, what this squeezing machine was about, and that's another long explanation, but anyways, so, nevertheless, this blind person, of course, there was some concern, about it being an obstruction for her, but, Temple had it, over to the side where it wasn't her walkway, and she had no problem with it. She understood the fact that, okay, just as she needed, some accommodations like her cane, and a little bit of cooperation from the people around her, Temple needed her squeezing machine, and they were a perfect match for each other. And so in any case, this gentleman has got this idea, this project in which autistics and blind individuals might mutually assist each other. One having one strength, another having another strength, and in working together, it sounds really intriguing. Again, like I said, I can't fully follow the dots as far as why particularly blind people are the ideal group for autistics to team up with, but it makes sense to him, and so I'm all for supporting this endeavor in any way I possibly can. And so that's all the time that I have in this video. So I will do one more video because we still need to discuss the what we are talking about as far as the need for more learning type, discussion type meetings, in which the primary purpose is to learn about autism. So that'll be the next video.